kind of sweaty, so get over it. But I don't know. I keep filming videos and then not editing them because I got. Let's see here. You can see this is like my flower arranging spot. Yeah, and so I've been working making bouquets, but I'm kind of behind today because somebody came and stole a bunch of bouquets from my farm stand, which sucks. But I now have to do a bunch of harvesting and arranging just to get back to square one. But that's the way she goes sometimes, I guess. I haven't made a video in like 3 weeks, and the last 3 weeks have basically just been me harvesting and arranging bouquets for the roadside stand. I haven't been doing the markets, but the roadside stand has been doing really well, which is exciting. I don't know how to see if anybody's commenting. Can somebody comment? And I want to see if it's going on here. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so the stand has been selling really well this year. It's like every day that I have it like fully stocked, I'm probably selling at least 10 bouquets. So that's like $200, which is a pretty good deal because, you know, like I've got a lot of other stuff going on in my life. You know, like I have my kids today, so you have to make meals and like, you know, kind of do kid stuff still, but you know, at the same time harvest and arrange. Also, I've been trying to put in a lot of value into my $20 bouquets, you know, call that what you will. Some people are against that. But honestly, I want more important than like making the most off of each individual bouquet. I'm trying to really foster a customer base that's like, why would we ever buy a bouquet from anyone else? You know, why would we go to the grocery store and buy a bouquet when we can get a $20 bouquet from Red Roof and it's, you know, so much more value than you'd get from any other place? And so like, I'm not putting any bouquets up there until I'm like, this looks really good. And if I have to add a little bit more stuff to make that happen, then I'm going to add a little bit more stuff to make that happen. You know, it's just the way it is, right? And I think it's working because, like I said, like sales have been really strong. Okay, so I do have to go harvest now, but I didn't want to film that. I just wanted to make a quick video because I filmed one yesterday and I don't feel like editing it. So I'm like, whatever, I'll just go live. Let's try this out. But I do want to show off the farm. It's very sunny out here today, so you know, it might not be the best video, but here, let's start with the veggies. Exciting news about the veggies. Yesterday was the first day that we did like a harvest for the farmers, or pardon me, a harvest for the food bank. Mostly cucumbers, zucchinis, and some carrots. But that was really exciting because that's been a goal for this season, and I wasn't sure like how easy it would be to achieve, especially when my tiller broke down in the spring and everything went chaos. Look how pretty this is. Oh, it looks so good. And then this is my row of cucumbers, my infinite cucumber. Well, you can see I always have a cucumber on me to snack away. The middle is all cherry tomatoes. And then this is like all big tomatoes or medium-sized tomatoes. And then over here is like my eggplants. So a row of eggplants. I'm pretty happy with this. It's doing pretty good. Maybe not growing as much food as I wanted to this year. But, you know, I'll build. Every year I will get better. Okay. The top of the farm is still a pretty big weedy mess. Probably be a weedy mess all season. I haven't weeded in like months. You know, if you don't weed in the spring too much, things get established. You know, once they kind of start shading out the weeds, you know, you get like limited return on your investment for spending time weeding. So I've just been like harvesting and, you know, like I'll deadhead and do a little bit of weeding when I'm like in an area harvesting, but for the most part, I'm just giving up on it this year. And I'm just trying to focus on, you know, I got it's the middle of August. So I've got like another 2 months to sell. And then, you know, then I'll be able to reset the farm again. And I'm just going to put landscape fabric down for the winter on like, I have enough landscape fabric that I can basically cover all the open beds. And that should really help smother the weeds. You know, I'll just leave it on until I have something to plant for a bed. Seems like a pretty, you know, good plan in my opinion. And then next year, because like my sales have been so strong from the roadside stand, I really do believe in the farm. I'm going to have an employee or like a couple or a few employees, not like full-time, but like if I have a handful of part-timers, you know, probably just like high school kids or something, that'll really help me like stay on the ball. Okay, I'm going to flip the camera around here and I'll show you some of the perennial or some of the annual areas that I've been harvesting lots from. Here's a mistake. Don't put your artichokes at the front of your beds, even if you want to look at them because they're so pretty, because they are mean plants. So I got to walk through these to get to my marigolds. Marigolds, such a good moneymaker. Probably the most profitable flowers on the farm because I make like a lot of bouquets. Probably about a third of my bouquets or half my bouquets are kind of like marigold base, and they sell. They sell really quickly. So it is weedy in here. It is, so it won't really like pop on camera, but this is like my straw flower bed. I had problems with like germination this year with my straw flowers, just because the seed was kind of old. So I only got a few different varieties to actually germinate it at all. Next year I want lots more. I also want lots more floss flower next year. The weeds, I have tried to weed in here a little bit. You can see this like section where I spent a little bit of time once, but I need to get in here and do some more weeding. Over here is some of the double feverfew. Oh, I love this so much. So pretty. And here's something I really, really love this year. This is the salmon scabiosa. Beautiful. I can't remember which was it, Dara, maybe. I can't remember what got planted there, but very useful. Sweet William. I've been really impressed with the production from the Sweet William this year because this has been going for a long time. Each plant has given me lots of stems. And some of my status, you know, you can see that it's weedy too. I didn't get to my status in time because I was really, really busy with like life stuff for a little bit. So you can see a lot of my status is, you know, like not fresh. And so I need to, today, I think, I need to get into all my different status patches and just deadhead. You know, I've been trying to do it as I harvest, but I need to put aside like 3 hours and just deadhead because I really need that status and I don't want it to, you know, go to sleep for the rest of the season. Okay, next up is my Snapdragons, and they don't look that impressive because they've already like done their like initial like harvest, and this is all kind of like secondary stems like splitting off of like wherever I cut it before. So there's kind of like a few stems here and there like that I'm getting from this patch, and I'm just going to leave it to do its thing, you know, until the end of the season, see what it does. I'm still getting stuff, but I got these ones here, which I love. They're so much fun, and they go really well with like the marigolds. Such a good color. And then these, I think the Madam Butterfly, like pink, and not as crazy about these. They kind of look worn out a little quicker, but I love this one. This one is probably my favorite. Sorry, there's a plane going overhead. Yeah, this one's probably my favorite of any of the snaps that I'm growing this year. It looks great in bouquets, and it is like growing a little bit thicker stems than like all the other stuff, even on its like second go round. And then there's some of these, like what, candy apple ones or whatever. These ones are okay. I don't like using them as much. And then yeah, like here's like my status, my apricot, my purples, various shades of purples and blues. This is all kind of like worn out and needs to go through and get deadheaded. This is like, I moved this like Rudbeckia patch from up high down here, and there is stuff to harvest in here, but honestly I'm not like super crazy about Rudbeckia anymore. It does produce a lot, but I don't think I want tons of it because I don't really like using it in the bouquets. You really have to be careful about like when you harvest it, because it can easily just go like super floppy in the vase, and I never want to sell anything that doesn't look good, right? I'm trying to build customers up, not make them never want to buy from me again. Okay, flip the camera back around. These are my like sunflower successions. I don't have like as much as I want this year, but it's fine. I'll be busy for like a good month and a half. You know, maybe near the end of October, it starts to peter out pretty good. These are kind of just starting to open up. This is probably the first one of that like more traditional coloring. You know, like these darker ones, they seem to open first for any of the varieties. So I've been picking these kind of over the last week or so, but I will be getting into like the more normal sunflower colors pretty soon. You know, up to this point I have been selling sunflowers, but they've just been volunteers from like all these branching sunflowers that somehow are growing here. Like last year this was like pro cuts, so I don't know if they just reverted into their like natural branching state. But I've got sunflowers, so I've been harvesting them and putting them in bouquets. You know, usually kind of like 2 of them with a bunch of marigolds and then some like zinnias. I really like, cause like there's the 3 colors of the cocoa series of marigolds, the like gold, the orange, and the yellow, and they make a nice mix together. And then I like pairing them with like, you know, a couple kind of like traditionally colored sunflowers, and then some of like, I've got these orange, and then like a real like nice red, and then I've got some yellow zinnias down here as well. I was just harvesting in here, so things are a little bit light. And then like this yellow. So the 3 of those zinnias, like especially that red, it like pops so much and it just brings it all together. I really like it. I'm having a lot of fun making those bouquets. Every time I have enough red to do one of those bouquets, I'm really excited. Here's my amaranth. So there's 3 different varieties. This is like the least happy variety. And then this variety is doing pretty good. I think there's like, what is it? Hot biscuit. And then there's like, I can't remember which one's which. I have to look at the packages. I saved all my seed packages this year so I can get better at remembering what every name is. But I really like the amaranth that like flops over. I think that it does the thing that I like to think of as like static movement, where other things that would be in that category would be like echinops. To me, echinops looks like it's like an explosion caught in like a moment, or like grass, like when you put like these in the top and it kind of like subtly moves or whatever. It just like makes the bouquets feel alive. And when like the amaranth flops down along the side, it makes like a nice level of asymmetry with you know, just like a really fun like highlight to draw attention. And it's so weird because it's like they're so floppy, but they also like, you know, are good at sticking around. They don't really like break off or anything, even when they're dried. Okay, here hiding is my little zucchini patch. So, ooh, there's a perfect little one in there right now. But these just got harvested for the food bank. So there's not a ton of stuff in here right now, but there's lots of stuff blooming. So that is exciting. And let's see, my look at how nice my peony patch looks, you know, just beautiful. Obviously they're not as happy as they could be, but they'll all be stronger next year than they are this year. I've got some strawberries in here. The patch is kind of, you know, overgrown with weeds like everything, but I don't know what happened. I got disconnected. I'm back. Okay, sorry about that. Sometimes like my phone connects to Wi-Fi and then it disconnects from Wi-Fi, you know. Here's something that I'm excited about. My beets. There's not a lot of them, but there's some of them. And yeah, so I think I was showing off the peonies. I don't know where exactly I cut off, but you know, there is a project for the peonies that I'm currently trying to complete. I wouldn't say I'm currently trying to complete. I have it about a quarter of the way done. I've run a line all the way down here as like a supply line, and then I'm running 2 drip lines down each row because the plants are kind of staggered, like back and forth. So there's a plant there, and there's a plant there, and there's a plant there. So I got like a line going that one and a drip line going through that one. So it's probably like over $1,000, well over $1,000 in just irrigation supplies just to do this zone. Stuff adds up so quick. But it'll be really nice next year to have all of the peonies on like drip irrigation. That'll be sweet because you know, like they obviously are all susceptible to the like fungal diseases, and you know, less water on the leaves the better. Okay, here's my delphiniums. I did weed in here this year once, but it's like been overtaken again. It's amazing how good I am at growing weeds. So like these just kind of produce a few stems intermittently, like every few days I come down here and I grab some stems. My customers are like not crazy about the delphinium bouquets, so I'm not like overly concerned about them, but I do want to like clean that all up at the end of the season, and then next year I want to like have that all planted properly with delphiniums. So kind of like 3 beds of delphiniums that are just kind of like steadily producing stems. It seems like they just go all year. This is the first time I've grown them, so you know, I'm still learning about them, but you know, I cut them right down at the base, and they just keep kind of like, you know, when the plants that are doing a little bit better seem to be pretty good at continuing to produce decent stems. Okay, my roses are a mess. A bunch of them are on drip irrigation. Some of them aren't. So like I've got like scattered roses covered in weeds. Oh my God. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you confirm that you hear me? Sorry everybody. I didn't press anything. Well, hardly anybody left while I was like talking to myself apparently. So thank you all for being interested. Okay, so here's like a patch of like Amy. I actually thought it was Cosmos earlier in the year. But this is like a really nice little source of stems that I didn't plant at all. This is all just came back this year, as did all of these bells of Ireland. The bells of Ireland haven't been seeded here in 4 years or something like that. They just kind of come back, and you know, like they can look really ratty out in the field. Like this one, for example. I'm gonna put the phone down for 1 sec. But then like you take out all the bottom, all the brown stuff, and then you just have, you know, like it is all nicely colored up at the top. And they are so fun in the bouquets. There's like a bunch of different color palettes that this like really like lime green or like just like really pale green really pops with. I really like it a lot. And I think next year I'll probably try to grow, you know, like get a bigger patch of it going because I do love it so much. And the other thing about them is that they just kind of keep getting taller as the season goes on. So, you know, like if they're not tall enough to use at any certain point, you just kind of give it some time, and then they eventually are usable. The rest of this here is kind of like stuff that has already had its time in the sun. So there's echinops. There's a couple different patches of echinops on the farm, but this is one of them. And I didn't get to these ones, but I was doing a really fun bouquet with the echinops I'll tell you about. And then there's like a patch of the summer berries, yarrow over there. These are all the echinops that I did get to. Got to a fair amount of them. And yeah, I think that's like everything that's in this little location. These daisies are kind of finished now. Like I could still harvest some. Like I harvest them when they still have that like spiral formation in the middle. But as soon as they like, you know, like this one, I wouldn't harvest that because it doesn't have that spiral anymore. So there's like a couple that I could get from in here, but they're not the most valuable stems, honestly. So they're pretty much done for the season. They do produce a lot though. Okay, let's go up some more. This is like my secondary planting of zinnias. So I got a couple more beds here, basically all the same colors that I planted on the other side. And there's also another bed of like amaranth, so another succession of the amaranth. And in the front here, it got overwhelmed by the weeds, but I would like to come in and weed this as well. This is kind of like number 2 behind the status is my celosia. And so the celosia is kind of interesting because like I didn't get around to doing any starts and never really had much luck with like growing celosia. But the seed packet said that you can like seed them in early summer. So I did. I seeded them, you know, like I can't remember, right at the end of June or something like that. And they're actually growing really well. So I think in the future I'm going to, you know, do that, but I'll do it in a bed that that's like been covered with landscape fabric up until that early summer point in time. And then I won't have to worry about the weeds as much. Okay, so a couple other things here. The anise hyssop is like such a good flower. I love it so much. For one, the more you look at it, the more you see bees. There's like more bees per square inch in like the anise hyssop than there is anywhere else on the farm. Like you just like everywhere you look in there, there's just like so many bees. And what I'll do a lot is I'll take like 5 or 6 of stems of them and I'll use it as like a little spike to, you know, center my bouquets around. Very good. I like it a lot. The bee balm that is over here is kind of like timing out. There's a little bit of bee balm and the bees love this too. But for the most part, this is kind of like a little bit too old to use. I think in here I was finding more bee balm that was still usable, but I might just come in and hack this bush down. I was liking it too because I could just like take a really big stem that had like 5 of the flowers on it and just use that as kind of like a little patch of greenery in my bouquets or some bulk, you know. Okay, let's go up the farm a little bit. We are walking back past the veggies. So no progress has been made in my greenhouse area. Greenhouse will be here eventually. It's currently leaning up against my fence up there. And then this greenhouse, I was like keeping it all landscape fabric because I wanted to get like a cool flower succession of sunflowers, just like, or what am I saying? Snapdragons. I wanted to fill this with snapdragons for next year, but I didn't get around to it. So it's not the end of the world. I'll have lots of stuff next year. I'll be far better prepared because I've learned lots. Now here is something that is filling the farm with the smell of somewhat rotten fruit. Apricots. The apricots, like the trees